Welcome to this segment of From the Orange Couch. I'm Phil Tull. I'm here with Robin Tull. And this is where we really unpack questions from clients as well as some maybe different circumstances or things that we see on the daily as advisors. And in true segment, we are father and son. And so we're going to be unpacking today of how to navigate adult children and finances, right? How to balance and walk that line of helping, but also caring for yourself. And so the analogy that we really like on this topic is if you've ever flown before, you know, put your own oxygen mask on before you help someone else, right? And so how does that apply from a financial take, Robin?
Yeah, I think it's a great analogy. I really do. We grow, when we have kids, I got 4 kids, when they were young, they fall down, they scrape their knee. I want to help them. I want to, comfort them. But when they become adults, it changes a little to being a coaching more in that case. And I think your analogy of, hey, take care of yourself first financially, and then there might be opportunities to help that adult child.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And why do you see that adult children underestimate how much their parents need?
Yeah, Phil, I think they see a number that may have been accumulated over many, many years, and they go, Mom, Dad, they'll never spend that kind of money. But they don't think about what those expenses really might be down the road, 20, 25 years down the road. Mm-hmm. You think of health care, you think of long-term care, you think of medical care, housing, all of those things that can come into play. We just had somebody today that was planning for long-term care at age 80 years old. So that's money that has to be set aside. That's their financial security. Yeah. I just don't think sometimes that the adult child knows those numbers and understands those numbers. I sometimes will look and say, it's not about the number, it's about a calendar. Yeah. And if they've got 20, 25 years left and they've stopped working, the adult child can still go back to work. Yeah. Still work.
That's true. Yeah, and I think that's where it's so important of if your adult children, for one reason or another, know how much money you have, maybe invite them in to a meeting or at least a conversation in your home, right, of how much it costs for you to live or what medical costs you might be accounting for. As you referenced, today's meeting is they may not realize how much long-term care costs are. And so if you help bring that perspective, I think that's super helpful. Yeah. How do you handle when adult children have that direct ask to their parent?
Yeah, that's a really difficult one because you just, I like to say sometimes that let me be the villain in this case, because you have to have a plan and you want to make sure that plan stays securely in place for you. Mm-hmm. It may be a one-time thing, but if it becomes a regular habit where, the mom and dad's checkbook always bails out that particular problem, then we have to look at that because you don't want to jeopardize the security of the parent.
Yeah, I think it's a good point, and to keep it unexpected is probably another way to put it. Right? Keep it unexpected. I know Warren Buffett talks on this topic, and he shares of really he kind of puts it in a way of help your adult children in a way that they can do anything but not everything. Yeah. Right, and I think that's important of instilling that character and finding that balance. Yeah. Right, you have any tips?
Yeah, well, my parents, during when I was in high school, I drove a truck in a lumber yard. I carried sheetrock. I worked at a furniture factory in the heat where you had to take salt tablets in the afternoon. Those things made me want to go back to school, to work hard, and to have a career. Mm-hmm. Those are the things, and I think the same thing with my kids. I try to do the same thing. Yeah. There's got to be that incentive, that fine balance between you can help, but you don't want it to be where they don't have any incentive to go to work or to do something.
Yeah, instilling that character is such an important. I've had that conversation a lot with clients. So they want to find that balance of instilling the character. You all did that well for us, and making me, or encouraging me, I should say. You didn't make me, but you encouraged me to go do construction.
5 o'clock in the morning, getting up and concrete.
Yeah, those weren't fun days. I found some joy, and it taught me a lot. But through high school and college, and I remember one of the guys on the job site telling me, go get an education, right? And it was good to set that foundation of
Incentivize.
hard work and instilling those good traits, right? In terms of loss of a spouse, I know Amy navigates this a lot and helps people go through this. It's a big life change, right? There's a term newly single that we use.
Yeah.
And it's a big life change on a lot of fronts, of course, and one being financially. A lot of times income is reduced. Second source of maybe a pension or Social Security income, that's reduced.
Yes.
Taxes often will go up because you go from married jointly to single.
Yeah.
All right. Any tips for those that are newly single?
Yeah, I think that's the hardest situation because there's only one spouse, and you don't have that other spouse to bounce off on or to say no.
Yeah.
And so I think that's one of the hardest things that I see, that they just, it's very difficult. And I always tell them many times, use me as scapegoat.
Yeah.
You know, you have a plan in place. The plan is for the next 20, 25 years, 30 years, whatever that life expectancy is. The plan is for possibly long-term care, health care. The second thing, besides having a plan, is maybe even having a budget for gifting to children. That's an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
And the third thing is bring your financial advisor into it. It's so important. It makes it easier, especially for a widow or a widower, to just simply say, hey, my financial advisor say, it doesn't really fit into the plan. I'm sorry. You're not being selfish.
No.
You're really not. You're just making sure you're financially secure, and that's the most important thing. You don't want to be dependent on that child.
Yeah. Any closing tips for us?
Yeah, I think that I go back to that analogy, Phil, of making sure that your mask is on first, your financial mask is on first, and having that plan of action. And then there's going to be opportunities to give. There's nothing wrong with gifting to children. There really isn't. It's just make sure it fits into your overall plan and that your financial security is actually secure, if I can say it that way.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most loving things you can possibly do,
good.
right, for your loved ones, is to make sure that you're taken care of, that you're not a burden, and that's a very caring and considerate thing to do for your loved ones and your family. Well, thank you so much for joining from the Orange Couch today with us. We just want to encourage you, whether you're newly single and you need help navigating what life looks like now, or maybe you're interested in a family meeting. I've had quite a few of those, and I'd welcome the opportunity to have a family meeting with you. So please reach out to your representative here at Tull Financial Group, and take care.